Mix it up for another first down.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to JG's Lounge. I'm your host, Jukebox Ginger, and man, am I stoked for tonight. We got a wonderful guest with us. But first off, let me introduce our co-host, who we all know quite well. He's been on several times. Jesse, how you doing, man?
Today is the best day ever. So I'm phenomenal. I'm so grateful to be here and to have Nevv on. So thank you.
Yeah, man. Nevv, man, I appreciate you coming on today. How are you?
Oh man, I'm doing good, man. I appreciate you guys letting me get on your podcast, man. I appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you making time for us because it kind of was a rushed kind of, hey man, you interested? You're like, hell yes, and then like within a week, here we are. So.
Right? Yeah, you can't hate that, right?
Have you done anything like this before? Or?
No? You guys are you popped my cherry, man. You're my first.
Yeah.
I like to hear that.
Yeah.
It's funny because there's sort of a love-hate relationship with social media, but it's social media that have introduced us to you, and if it wasn't for it, I feel like there's a lot of artists that wouldn't be known for their skills and what they can do. So I gotta applaud you for what I've seen. I mean, your lyrics are phenomenal, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So have you're in Denver, correct?
Yeah, I'm in Denver.
Born and raised?
Yeah, born and raised here. I lived in Seattle for about 6 years. I graduated high school out there. I moved back here when I was 21. I turned 26 on Wednesday. So
I remember you saying in one of your songs about being a Scorpio. So I was like, man, you got to be getting ready to turn, or you just turned 25 or 26.
Yeah, man. My birthday's on Wednesday, but I don't drink anymore, and I used to, but so I don't really know what I'm gonna do. This would be my first sober birthday, so I've never done anything.
I have to say one thing though. So 3 of my favorite people's birthday is on Wednesday. No shit, my little sister, my best friend, and a good friend of mine that I go to shows with. So long live the 16th of November. So This is meant to be. Awesome. I love synchronicities. So happy early birthday for one. But I'm proud of you, man. So right.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Mine's right behind you. I'm December 5th. So
hey, all right, there you go.
It's funny for my birthdays growing up, we mostly just went ice skating pretty much every year.
Damn. Shit, I am so bad at ice skating or like snowboarding or anything. Everything else I'm decent at. I can pick up pretty quick, but I just could never do the snow sports. I don't know why.
Right. Are you into any sports at all, or?
Yeah, I actually used to be a competitive swimmer. I was a gymnast. I did football and basketball, but swimming and gymnastics were really like my big sports. I know, real thuggish.
There you go.
Yeah, right.
Hey, that's all part of why we do what we do, is to find these things about people who don't really talk about it so much in the lyrics, but it's these little details that people like to hear, man.
Right? It's like, what do you do aside from what we know you for now? Because
right, exactly.
Yeah, like I mean, I never really did sports. I played tennis in high school. I know, right? And I was in choir. Facts.
Hey, first of all, I wish I was in choir, because if I could like go back and do choir and then some sort of instrument, I bet it would only benefit me now. So I should have done that. But tennis, dude, my first ever girlfriend played tennis, and I was like talking all this shit about it. I was like, yeah, that's nothing, And then I went out there in front of her whole team. I was like, I'll fucking whoop all you guys. And then it was just embarrassing. So it's like, I give it, tennis is so underrated. Like, people do not give it enough credit, or at least me personally, I didn't, until I got my ass handed by a bunch of, freshman girls back in the day. So there you go,
It's hard. It's a lot harder than you think. Same thing with golf. Like, I can hit a ball. That's it.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually really good at bowling.
What?
Yeah, disc golf and bowling. Those are my like go-to
disc
sports.
Golf. There we go.
My average is like a 216 at bowling.
Out of 300.
Yes. Yeah. I'm
That's
pretty
actually
good.
pretty good.
Yeah. I'm pretty
Okay.
good.
Sober or like have some you have some confidence.
I like to say that I average that when I'm not sober, but we're gonna say that I'm not that good when I'm drinking.
The truth comes out. Fair.
It happens.
Yeah. So what's tell us a little bit about your childhood and growing up, man. As a kid, what did you do for fun?
Honestly, man, I had a lot of fun. I had a little bit of a diverse childhood, a little bit, just because I bounced around a lot. Parents weren't together and shit, so it was just all that. For fun though, I used to live like my family. We all kind of lived together and shit. So we were just like, there was a bunch of us, even though we're not super close. We were just all in confined spaces, So I don't know, we just kind of played board games, all that kind of shit. And, didn't grow up with the most money or anything, so didn't really travel and stuff. But it's more just kind of family time a lot, other than sports. But yeah, that's kind of what I did.
Yeah. I understand the split household, so
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Jesse as well. Yeah, same thing.
Oh man, I my parents got divorced when I was 6, and my mom and we were living in Utah at the time. We moved to Texas, then Oklahoma, then Louisiana, then North Carolina, then South Carolina, and then back to Utah, and then to California, and then back to Utah, then to Florida, and then it was 2001. And I told my mom, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna go live with my dad so I can be in one place for high school.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then I've been in Utah mainly since 2001. So I understand that traveling now by choice though. I mean, growing up in cars and hotels and sleeping on the floor and stuff as a kid, and I'm like, this was a cool during the time I'm like, I hate my life. This sucks. But looking back, I'm like, that was a cool experience. Because I meet people all the time, and where I can get along with anybody. So that's benefit, I think, positive spin on that.
Right. So Nevv, how about your friends growing up? Did you have a pretty good friendship with people, or I mean, is there a crowd that you kind of got into? It seems like in your lyrics that you kind of had a little rough patch in your life, but before that, did you have a pretty solid, neighborhood
friend base? Yeah. I had a solid a friend group and everything, a good social life. It was actually recently, man, where fake smiles and everything kind of came afoot. So I just, other than that, you're a product of your environment. So I kind of just, I gravitated to the right people, but then we got into the wrong things. You know what I mean? I hate when people kind of what is it? When I'm not trying to pawn it off on the environment or other people, right? My own addictions and shit like that are mine to bear, But you start going down that rabbit hole and you start meeting more and more people that are, in that realm of partying and drinking, which there's nothing wrong with that lifestyle. It just wasn't conducive to what I was doing. And so it caused me to have to detach from people that I was close to growing up, and everything. And it was a hard cut, man. It really was, but it was for the best, and I may not have this huge circle like I used to or anything like that, but it genuinely was for the best. It comes out better in the music and my health, and I can keep my mind at ease,
Oh yeah. Of course.
That was crazy.
Did you make the decision on your own to decide to, just cut off the alcohol?
Or did something happen?
Dude, something did happen, man.
Okay.
All right, fuck it. Let's get deep. Here we go.
Let's do it.
Let's go. We're here for it.
Man,
tell us about you. How this whole thing happened.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So, I had this relationship that I was in, and it just didn't end very well. And but I was overdoing it, man. I couldn't decide what I wanted, with who I wanted to be with, what I wanted to do. Didn't decide where I was going to live. There's a point where I was like, am I going to go to Arizona? Am I going to stay here? Am I going to go with some friends and this girl? And it was bad because I had, the people here that I didn't want to leave. And obviously I've established this, I don't know. I've established this fan base, and not saying I walk down the streets and get fucking mauled or nothing, but I just, you put all this work into building something where you're at, and then you're just going to go and leave. I mean, you see people like A-list celebrities where they can just fucking take off wherever and they got, support anywhere. But when you're starting out, you're local, right? And so you got to kind of earn your stripes before you break into something new. And, TikTok and everything's helped. But, I've been around Denver so long that, like, not saying that I'm starting to catch wind or anything, but a little bit, you know what I mean? Where people are starting to be like, oh, yeah, shows here, that, whatever. And I didn't want to start over and go to Arizona. Plus, it was for the wrong reasons. But anyways, I was involved with a group. And they all were kind of like telling me, I'm overdoing it and stuff. And I don't know, I kind of had this roommate situation and some money shit that was falling through. And I just had friends, man, that were just, it was toxic. It was just, and I was toxic too. I'm not blaming them. I didn't feed into it well. But it was just a bunch of drama, a bunch of, rob Peter to pay Paul type of thing where it's like, keep a secret, but these people know and all this kind of shit. And I was bad too, man. I was drinking, I was cheating, I was doing horrible things. And so finally, when it was time to pay the piper, my dirty laundry got aired out basically. It was time to change, man. Like I lost who I needed to lose in order to learn what I had to learn,
Yeah.
And, and so it was time to do that. And it sucked because I lost my friend of 12 years, but it was the right move, I wish I didn't, but I lost him, and yeah, and I was just like, ever since then, I didn't want to drink because I was drinking to cope with shit that I didn't want to face. And then when I was forced to face it and I lost everyone, then I was like, okay, if I drink, I'm only going to get sad. You know what I mean? And plus, it doesn't feed into anything, like it just ruins me in the studio. Like there's been times I was getting bombed to go to the studio and then, I'm looking at my engineer and he's just looking at me like, dude, why'd you even come? I don't know. I fucking hate that look and it's not good. It's just bad, man, and it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to people that like my music because if I'm just in the booth and I get a half-ass product, it's like, what does that say about, how much I care about my art, let alone my fans and like what they listen to, or I don't know.
Yeah, man.
That was kind of a long explanation. Sorry about that.
No, not at all. Honestly, I think that's what people need to hear, though, right? Like we're all just people. We're all just having an experience. And although like we're having our own individual experience, we are a product of the people we surround ourselves with. And from their energies, from the music they listen to, the way they dress, the way they talk, their slang, things like that. And it sounds to me like you realize that. And that's awesome. And it's very respectable. Thanks for sharing.
I appreciate it, man. I wrote Fake Smiles because my thing is that I was getting, because I didn't talk to these people, because I cut them out, because I was trying to focus more on like the passion and sobriety and stuff. I wrote this, and then the people that you cut off, like they get salty that you cut them off, especially when you don't give them an excuse or a reason, and you just kind of leave, and it kind of sucks. But when I left, man, I was getting called this like habitual victim, and he plays the martyr card and all this kind of stuff. And I was literally doing this for the opposite reason. I feel like that it's so misinterpreted when people like leave. You know what I mean? I don't understand it. And it pisses me off too, because you hear all these people who are like, they try to say things because somebody left their life and they're like, well, who does he have? What does he do? Or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, just because that person left you doesn't mean that person has nothing. You know what I mean? Or has, you know what I mean? I don't know. So I wrote Fake Smiles in the sense of like, that was the motive, that was the drive. It wasn't somebody, it was just like all of these topics that were personified. If I were talking to an individual, it was just somebody that had all these characteristics that I built in my brain, and it was just from all these different situations. And I think that anybody listening to this or whatever, they need to hear that, just because you leave a toxic, it could be a relationship, a friend group, a fucking family, it doesn't matter. It's like, just because you left, it doesn't mean you're playing the victim. It's like just because you left, that's like a sense of ownership. You know what I mean? Yeah, but people don't look at it like that. They think you took the weak way out. And my parents always told me that the strongest guy is the one that walks away from the fight, not the one that fucking goes in there and starts comparing dicks and like trying to like size up egos, I don't know. It takes too much energy.
Just think about it though, because if it wasn't, and I appreciate, what you put out, like your music is phenomenal and definitely reaches people, because even if it might not be exactly what you're talking about, it almost can relate to a lot of different scenarios.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for these situations that you went through, I mean, these songs wouldn't be these songs, you know, and they wouldn't reach
Oh
people.
yeah, and that's what kills me. Like, Kendrick had a line in one of his songs where he's like, "Stop playing with me before I turn you to a song." And it's like, man, I just feel like that has been my whole fucking career, because it's the minute there's something that happens, man, I gotta go write it down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then everybody that's not involved with that song, it wasn't wrote or it wasn't written about, or they weren't the inspiration behind it. They're all about it. They're like, write it, you know? Oh, like, that's your art. Nobody can tell you what to write, right? But then when they're on the other side of that barrel, then they're like, well, I don't know if you should fucking say this, blah, blah, blah. And I just think it just really shows that everything is interpreted differently, because what somebody may find offensive, somebody may find therapeutic, and vice versa, you know? And I just think that's kind of what I'm trying to represent every time I step in the booth or something. I mean, I have those fun songs or sad songs that are for me, but that's like the mentality behind it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for me, like how I discovered you, right? I was saying this earlier, I'll share this with the audience. A friend of mine sent me Fake Smiles. And it was like, hey, I really think that you should listen to this, just based off of like me talking about what's going on, you know, and like what JG and I are doing and what we're trying to, you know, accomplish with this show and everything else that we're working on. And I'm just like, man, there's like a lot of people coming in out of nowhere, people from my past. Like, I don't know, you know, what's the point of this? Started asking questions, and I listened to this, but it was like, when you're talking about interpretation and tying this together, like in verse 1, you say, I used to drink until the memories of us was fade. And then in verse 2, you say, you know, I used to write until these memories of us were gone. Now, us can be anything, right? I mean, obviously it's something to you, but for me, I'm like, man, I can relate that to a relationship, a job, you know, friend groups, things like that as well. But then just realizing, you know, holy, like this song relates to everything. And so I started listening to more of your songs. Gaslighting really resonates with me. And then right before I came over here, I don't know what song it is, but there's a lyric to like, I'm not Jesus, I'm not Eminem. And I'm like, wow, and you're just who you are. And I'm like, this guy talks about real things that most people don't talk about. These are topics that are taboo to basic society because society makes them taboo. And being a man too, like even in rap and, you know, being, you know, Caucasian or, you know, anything that's outside of the norm, it's like, whoa, you're talking about this stuff. And you're like, yeah, I don't care. I'm going to speak my truth. And this is my interpretation and I'm going to do it. And you're 100% justified in what you feel. And I love that about you as a musician. And that's what sparked my interest. I'm like, I got to know this guy. So one, thank you. Two, like that's my interpretation of this song and just listening to your songs the past few days.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, that song that you brought up, I wrote that about. It's called Patterns, and it was just it was a piano. It was just a piano, a couple of keys, and it was just I wrote that because of a fucking relationship that went south, you know. But it resonates, man. It's crazy. Like, I had some friend or an ex-friend, you know, and he was always supportive of my music, so I'm not like shit talking and stuff. But he would always tell me like, maybe you should write something that's hype or outside. And you know, there's that thing where it's like, where do you go outside? There's a difference between going outside of your comfort zone or am I going outside of my comfort zone to suit what you may like, you know? And with this, it was just, that was something that I felt like could resonate with everybody, you know? And when I said that, it's like that first verse that you're talking about, it was just about, it was about this girl in her friend group who, I mean, you and I we could sit and if I told you everything, we could pick apart their actions and shit like that. And I'm no saint, you know, but that was the thing. Like, I never claimed to be, but because I put a song out or I wrote something about that person and her affiliation with everybody else, like not being a saint, then there was just some sort of like pushback or like, you're a hypocrite. And it was like, no, the point is that like, I'm able to say that I'm not a fucking saint. You know, I don't walk on water. I don't do these things. And yet some reason, somehow in this situation that everybody's involved in, I got to explain every action, as opposed to they can do whatever the fuck they want, you know, and it takes two to tango, right? But nobody wants to judge the other person dancing and just drives me insane, man. It drives me nuts, especially in a relationship. Because make it make sense, dude. Make it make sense. I just can't, you know? Yeah.
You go through a lot of relationships, man. You know, I come from multiple divorces on both sides. You know, my wife and I have thankfully been together for going on 7 years now.
That's good, man.
A couple kids. And, you know, we, even with our marriage, you know, we have our struggles. I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah.
But, you know, being able to handle somebody at their worst makes a huge difference too. And there's some people who just clash, man. I mean, you don't know it when you get together. And then there's those moments where you're like, maybe this just ain't what it's supposed to be, you know?
Yeah, 100%, you know? And my thing is like back then, that was when I was like in the height, like the pinnacle of my drinking. I wasn't like full blown like alcoholic, you know, come home and just scream and shit for no reason. But like I was drinking, I was overdoing it, you know, like a pint every time we go out, you know. I'm to the point where I'm blacking out, I'm throwing up. It is addiction, you know, there's no way to sugarcoat it, right? And I struggle with it every day. But the thing is like with that came like my sexual addictions, you know, and I was just a fraud, dude. And then the lying, because you can't just have one without the other, right? Like, I feel like when you have like lying, sex, and cheating and all that kind of stuff, it just all goes together, man. It's like stinking shit. Like, you know what I mean? You can't have one without the other.
Right.
And so, man, it just completely, it just deformed my character, like stripped me down. And it was sad, man, because there's people in my past that I don't want to remember me like that, but they will. And that's the only way I had to learn in order to be on the other side of it, you know? And it sucks, dude. It fucking sucks, you know? But
it does. But you have this mindset now, and I think that's incredible, right? You're like, hey, I did some stuff. I did some stuff in reaction to things that happened because I wasn't prepared. I wasn't equipped to be able to handle that appropriately. And so in a way, it's like you allowed yourself to be that version of you. And then you woke up one day and you're like, I don't want, just like you said, I don't want people to remember me that way. And that's why you clean things up. You're writing about it. And now you get to be an example. Like you said, you know, you're not extremely well known yet, but you will be just by being yourself. And I think that's incredible. But this is like this story right here. You know, you explaining this is exactly what I think everybody needs to hear. Is like, yo, we do things, and people's interpretation of that is fine, and it doesn't matter the why. It's like you show up exactly the way you're going to show up every day. Period. You show up for yourself. You show up for the rest of the world. You're an experience, and you get to decide what kind of experience you're going to have, and what kind of experience you're going to be for other people. And then it's like, how does that sit with you? Right?
Yeah. Right. No, 100%, man. And it's hard because people like to dehumanize choices as opposed to like they dehumanize you because of a choice, and then they sit there and they ignore like the recovery actions, right? Because sometimes the damage is done, and that's what sucks. And that's like where I become such a hypocrite, is because I'll sit here and I'll be like, well, they don't know me because of what I've changed over the past 4 months, 5 months, a year, whatever, since the last time I spoke to that person or I was involved in this situation. But then I turn around and like, I wish I didn't hate people or I held grudges. And dude, being sober, I've been better at it. But man, it is just one of those things where it's like, it takes one time and I'm gone. And I wish I wasn't like that, man, but I am. It's just deeply rooted in my core. And I'm trying to like deroot that, you know? But where I become a hypocrite is like, if I'm expecting somebody else to let me be something new in their eyes based on a change I made, I gotta allow the same thing. And that's where I struggle. And that's why, like, the friend I talked about that I haven't talked to in, you know, months now and or whatever, and that dude was like my brother, you know? And what sucks is that, like, he had to go. And I could sit here and let this dude, like, judge me and whatever. And I know fake smiles probably hurt him, you know, or whatever. And that wasn't my intent, but there was a little anger on that side, you know? But I can't sit here and judge this dude and then turn around and like expect him to be like, well, he's different now.
Oh, I think he froze.
Yep. He froze on us.
Give him a moment to
He'll pop back in. That was some intense stuff too.
Absolutely. I think this is great. If you guys haven't checked out Nevv yet, please do. His music's streaming everywhere. Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
My
No.
internet sucks.
is
Whatever. We just took a commercial just so like for me to promote your music. Like, go follow him, go listen to his stuff.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
That's the least we can do. That's what we're trying to do is, it sounds to me that, we have all these experiences. And one thing I've learned personally, I'll share with you, is we're individuals and we change a lot through all of our experiences. And then we can decide, like, do I like my life? Am I happy? But it's not just that, it's, are you satisfied with the results of your effort, period? Whether you just wake up and you breathe, are you satisfied that you lived that day versus I wrote a song today, release it, and I got 10,000 hits, whatever, I got all these new followers. Are you satisfied? There's a fine line between, being satisfied with what is or like being disappointed because of expectations. And this goes into relationships and friendships too, whether it's a business relationship or whatever. And I can relate, like I've had people in my life that are like brothers that I thought were going to be by my side forever. And they didn't. One, because things happen that are traumatic, right? Whether it's drinking, somebody passes away in their life and they're going down their own thing. The most I can do is say like, I love you. I'm here if you need me. I'm going to check on you every once in a while. And, and simple as that. But at the same time, like, I'm going to go work on myself. And what I learned is the more you work on yourself, right, it's going to be, Kenzie said this in here, what one person feels is offensive could be therapeutic to another. So although you're working on yourself, there we go. As though, and you guys share a birthday. This is my little sister. Her birthday is Wednesday too.
That's what's up.
But it's true though. Like, you're going to work on yourself. You're going to write a song, and that's therapy. That's therapy for you. Right. And you do that. And then you have the confidence to share that message with the world because you simply want to. And that's kind of it. Like, hey, I had this experience, and I used to think too, like, man, I miss these people, but I'm not who I was when I was with them. And although they were good for me during that period of my life, I'm going to keep being better for me. And I know that maybe I could be the example that they start working on themselves too. Maybe they come back around, maybe they don't. Yeah, but then you get to see that evolution in your music as well. I mean, how long have you been writing music now? And how did that start? Like, when did you start taking a pen to paper? When did you start going to the studio? Tell us about that.
Oh, man. So I started, like, I dropped my first ever project, which was fucking, it sucked. But, it's like, dude, it's like, I look at it like, I heard, what was it? Was it Ed Sheeran talking about it? I forgot the analogy you used, but it's kind of like turning on a pipe for the first time, man. Like, when you do it and the water runs through it, you got to get all the shit out, before it finally, you start getting.
Wi-Fi.
Yep.
You gotta love the Wi-Fi. I learned my lesson last time. That's why I upgraded the router.
There we go.
There he is.
Sorry, dude. My internet sucks.
That's all good.
No, we were just talking. Yeah, it happens.
What was I gonna say? Okay. So
your first project, Ed Sheeran, pipes.
Yeah. So Ed Sheeran was talking about this metaphor that he said when you start, it's kind of like turning on a pipe for the first time. It's like, and water runs through it. And once it comes out, right, you just got to get all that shit, that gunk, that buildup, like all that shit has to come out before it starts flowing, right? So when I was 2018, shit, I don't know how old I was, but that's when I started.
A little bit of a lag. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
I love that analogy though, because it's a good analogy.
That is a great analogy.
Yeah. Oh, that's why he's the best. Shit.
Well, not even that though. Think about it though. Like, even when water starts going, then you can like add a filter to it, right? And then you can make that water cold to your liking. Yeah, there's a lot you can do with that. I love that.
Yeah.
So I do want to. I mean, I want to continue this, but like, growing up, especially through all these experiences that you had, is there like certain artists or anything that you would listen to kind of help you through it, or like inspirations?
Oh yeah, man! I grew up on Eminem. You know I did.
Hell yeah! There we go.
Who didn't? Man, that guy was just like, you could just relate to him. And it's just like, not only just the incredible storytelling that he does and the lyricism and everything, but there was just some sort of I don't know. There was some sort of similarities. Obviously, I didn't grow up as bad as him or nothing, but like, similarities in like his relationship with his mom, his like that kind of shit. Like it just kind of, I don't know, it evolutionized me into this artist that I became and am still growing as, But that was him. Also, like I listen to a lot of alternative too. I don't strictly listen to rap, but like
That's awesome.
I loved 3 Days Grace. I loved Bring Me the Horizon, all that kind of shit. I don't know.
Nice.
It's like a little.
I love variety.
And variety
Just
is the
like
way
we were
to go,
talking.
man.
Yeah, there's a few people we've talked to. There's like we listened to, the last one. It was Coldplay. Coldplay was one of his top 5 that he listened to. And I think that was so cool that he like shared that with the world on his Instagram. I'm like, what are your top 5? I'm so stoked because we're getting towards the end of the year. And so Spotify's going to say, hey, in fact, it was earlier. It's like, here's a playlist of what you listened to back in 2021. I'm like,
all right.
Sorry, dude. Sorry.
Hey, I want to tell you something that this has happened to not only our guests, but us as well. So
it's totally normal. We're just going with it, man. We're patient. We got time. You got time. We're here. We're doing it.
Technology for you, man.
Perfect. Perfect.
So alternative stuff. Okay. So like top 5 artists, just period, like different genres of music or whatever. What would you say that not even inspiration, just like your go-to when you listen to stuff, or like what you're listening to right now?
Oh, obviously I love Eminem, man. Just 5. Holy shit. All right, let's see.
Just a couple off the top of your head. What do you got? What do you got for us? And then we could do the same thing. I'd surprise you.
And now I am curious to hear what he has to say, though.
Yeah, man. Because of you, I've been doing research on like brand new things.
There we go. All right, let's try this again. All right. So top 5, man, just 5. Let's see.
Not even top 5, just whatever music that you just like listening to right now.
I would say, man, J. Cole is the preacher to me. Like that dude just speaks volumes to me. Obviously, Eminem. I love Kendrick. I've been stuck on Kendrick for a while, just like this past couple of months. Let's see. I like this rapper King Los. I just resonate with him a little bit. Love King Los. And let's see, who else do I bump, man? You're gonna make me look at my library.
Why not?
Yeah, I found this one. I like what is it? Motionless in White.
Hell yeah.
Band. Yep. Yeah, I like that band. I've been really in a rock phase recently, but I always circle back to just Kendrick, Cole, Eminem. Not a huge Drake fan, I wish I could get behind it, but it doesn't do it for me. I mean, I like his hits and shit, but it doesn't. Not that he isn't incredible. It doesn't do it for me,
Right.
And then Connor Maynard. I love Connor Maynard, man. I know it sounds kind of girly, but do you know who that is?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, man. This is why I like asking, like, hey, what should I look into?
He's a cover artist. He does a bunch of obviously covers.
Maynard. Yeah, he's on. Yeah, I found him on TikTok 2 years ago. Yes, I know who you're talking about. Okay.
That dude's voice, man, make a brother cry. But I like him, and I listen to the big guys for sure. I don't really dive deep into the underground as much, but that's kind of my go-to.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It's funny because I listen to I listen to all music, but I like my drive to work, my drive home is typically either podcast or death metal. And
all right.
And there's a band I really enjoy called Wineville, and I was searching for them, and there's an album by a British rapper called Wizville, and his name is Ocean Wisdom, and I was like, "What's this?" So I clicked on it, and now I'm stuck, dude. I love him. I've listened to like 6 of his albums.
Oh, all right.
And and that was just completely random. But
I feel like that is the best feeling when you just stumble across. You're like, oh shit, this guy's my new favorite. I love that. That's the best, man.
And I want to give you props because I'm actually looking at Spotify on it right now, and you've got 40,000 monthly listeners right now.
Oh, dude, I know, man. Thanks for the props. I hope it just keeps going up. It's like a love-hate relationship being fucking Spotify, man. I just drop off the planet, then you go back up. It's fucking crazy, but we're on a steady incline, man. Like honestly, Fake Smiles did something different. And I got a show next Friday. It's my first ever headline.
On the 25th, right? At your mom's house is the name of the space.
Yeah. No, it's such a weird name, but I hope to. So there's 166 tickets sold already. So I'm trying to pack it out. I got 230 more before I sell out the venue. So I hope I can do it in a week.
You'll do
it. Come to Denver.
Yeah, dude, it can't be that fucking hard, right?
It's only an 8-hour drive.
I'll promote it too on my stuff too. So.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Of course.
Yeah, that isn't that far. It's only like a 7-hour drive from Kansas City.
Yeah, no, I honestly like because is it Black Friday? Is that?
Yeah, that's Black Friday.
Yeah. Let's chat about that afterwards. Honestly, I've got some homies that are in Denver that are actually, working in the music industry. A good buddy of mine, he actually helps set up the stages and the audio engineering side of things for a lot of venues out in Denver. And so I'm excited for you. So this is your first show, like live?
I've done shows.
Or just since
this is my first headline. Like I've never
headline. Okay.
Yeah, so that'd be cool, man. I've never been up there more than like, dude, I've performed where like I couldn't even go backstage. They had to make like I had to go through the crowd to get on stage. That venue was a piece of shit. But man, I've had crazy stories live, and man, the worst is when I forgot my lyrics once. Oh, that is the worst feeling.
You pulled an Eminem.
Oh, dude, I know I YouTubed it after I had to look. And I've seen NF is another one, by the way.
NF is fantastic.
Yes,
I referred to him when I was explaining it. Like he's like a new NF. It's a very similar vibe.
Yeah.
Forgot your lyrics. How did you react to that?
Oh, see, I didn't headline that one. I was opening, and man, I just forgot it. But I try to do so. I study, I'm obviously like you hear everybody like I'm a student of the game. You always hear rappers if I could say that, but it's true, man. You're a student. You got to learn these things. And so I was in YouTube and I was watching live performances, and I'm watching the greats, man. Like I love Travis Scott. I love all those guys, but they're not like their performances are different from like a lyrical standpoint, right? Like they're in there to rage. They say 5 words of the whole sentence. They scream, they jump. They're not really like, there's no breath control. There's no like J. Cole is amazing. Like he is just so like, man, he raps every fucking bar, no ad lib, no back music. It's just him and the instrumental, and then the chorus comes on and he'll have it dubbed. So like Kendrick, same way, there's no, like if he fucks up, you're gonna know. And that's what makes him so talented, because he just fucking does it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, but what makes him so great is he does the song. Like he makes the song, he does the song, and then he will recreate a version of the song live. Like there's performances of him that he does that I like more than just the song, and that's what I want to be. I want to be not just someone that's got the song in the background and I rap the first fucking lines like I used to write it till the memories of us would fade, and just have it repeating itself. That doesn't do it for me. The talent is in, holy shit, he sounds the same, if not better, behind the mic live. And I saw it with my own 2 eyes. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I've seen rappers do that, man. I fucking hate that. Like, it's just like, you're just your sound engineer is a genius, not you,
Right.
There is a lot. Oh, go ahead.
So how did you react how did you respond when you lost your words?
Oh man, if I could fucking share a video, I'd show you. But man, so here's the thing. So one thing I noticed is Eminem, for example, or NF, right? Like when you go really fast, you can't jump around. Like you'd have to be the most athletic guy on the planet, But to jump around, scream, holler, and be able to carry all these syllables at once without taking a breath, which they do when they go all fast and shit, right? And so what I do is I'll take just a word and I'll have it cut out. So for example, if I were to say I used to write it till the memories of us were gone, Gone would be pre-recorded. So I just rap all that, and then I wouldn't say Gone because it would be over the speakers, and I'd take a breath. And I've watched a bunch of rappers do that, right? So when I fucking fucked up, I was like, oh shit. And I was sitting there and I was trying to pick up the cadence and the flow, and I was like, oh God, where do I, because there's nothing to reference it, right? Like when you slip on a song you're singing, you can just pick it back up because the words are getting played. When it's just the instrumental, you gotta like remember the structure, remember everything. And so what I did was I was just trying to get the crowd kind of hyped with this this instrumental playing. And then finally, like that phrase came on that was pre-recorded, that was intended for me to take a breath. And I just picked up from there. But it was definitely the most embarrassing, 15, 20 seconds of my life, man. But I bounced back, and we're here to tell the story,
It's just a story to tell now, man.
Yeah, man, but still, God, that's what I'm so terrified for this next show, because I'm up there for an hour, right? Like you do it one time in a 30-minute set, you can get away with it, But you're up there for an hour. You're the main act. Reason why people are coming, and you keep fucking up. They're gonna be like, dude, why am I here? You know what I mean? I don't know. That's
Jesse,
what's so terrifying about it.
Jesse, what were you gonna say?
You already know. So I had this conversation actually last night. I work with a lot of musicians and a lot of artists from all aspects, right? And I was talking to a client of mine, and they're like, what do you want to do tonight? And they're like, I just want to make music. I'm like, okay. Well, what kind of music? I'm like, well, I don't know. I said, okay, do you understand that there's so many different ways to make music? And I think a lot of people don't understand this. This is what the EDM world has kind of helped me to realize. So you have your music producers. So they're the ones that are making the beats, the dots.
Yeah.
And they put that together. So that's the production of a beat or a rhythm or a melody, rather. And then you have your lyricist, the person that's writing the words, if there are going to be words. And then you decide, am I going to sing the lyrics or somebody else going to sing the lyrics? Am I going to play the guitar that I'm recording, or am I using a pre-recording, or am I using Ableton or something like that, whatever it is to use that. And so there's really like 20 different steps of music. And I'm glad you mentioned that. For a lot of people that, aren't into this, they don't understand this stuff. It's like you have somebody that creates a beat. Perfect example of this would be Yeezy, right? That's what he was known as. Is he was a music producer, and he's like, no, I'm gonna rap, and everyone's like, whatever, you can't do that. You need to make the beats for me to rap on. So when it comes down to it, it's like, what is talent, right? I can't play the guitar. I can't write my own stuff, and I don't necessarily want to. If I want to like write a song with somebody, I'm gonna ask my homie like, hey, will you play the guitar and sing along with me? And I just want to sing, but like cover band type thing. But then you have the people that are mixing things up. You could have like 7 layers of music, and that's why I'm so fascinated with rap, and also like with Fake Smiles. It's just you just start out talking. Great. Or like some of your songs where you just have the piano, and I feel like that's more talent than what we realize. Like that's actually harder to do than, I have a chord that I can follow that's repetitive, and I can use the same chorus in with this to help bridge the gap between the lyrics, the verses in between. And so there's just so much into it. So you said, I see myself wanting to do this. What exactly is it that you want to do? Like overall, you're like, I want to write my own stuff. I want to rap my own stuff. I want to create my own beats, or I want to collaborate, right? Is a plan for you? Collaborations in the future? Or who would you like to work with as well? Would be the next question.
I definitely. So first of all, I don't do any of the production. I got a producer. He's amazing. He actually got nominated for a Grammy. He goes by Hostile Beats. He works with Hostile Beats, and then his partner like YC Beats. Hostile Beats made the instrumental for Fake Smiles, and he's phenomenal. He worked with Mary J. Blige, and that's what's got him Grammy nominated.
Oh wow, I love that.
Yeah,
congrats.
Yeah, he's over in London, and he got me connected with Stevie Stone. Stevie Stone was a rapper that was signed to Tech 9 for a while. I think he broke off from Strange Music. That's Tech 9's label, and I think he's starting his own thing up. And he works with Hostile Beats or Jamie. He works with him a lot, and so he got me in contact. I haven't talked to Stevie directly, but I guess that dude, like, you know, he might be interested in signing me, and I got his ear. I don't know. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Obviously, that's for him to decide, obviously. But he was talking about some features, so I'm hoping that'll be like my first ever like kind of decently big feature. He's, you know, he's pretty well known and everything, so it'll be interesting to work with someone that's actually, you know, like I'm actually a rapper, but somebody that's touring and stuff. You know, I'm doing shows locally. I haven't broke out yet there, and so that'll be crazy. Hopefully, when you said what I want to be,
yeah,
I would love to be a J. Cole or a Russ, where I start making the beats. I do everything. Eminem does this too, you know, where he does everything by himself. He's a one-man, you know, band, if you will. I'd love to break into that, right? But right now I'm so focused on the lyrics. And I was watching this interview with this guy on TikTok, speaking of TikTok, and he was kind of shitting on rap because he's like, there's no musical genius behind it, because, you know, you could tell he was more just like an instrument kind of guy, or rock band, or, you know, and obviously those guys are crazy talented. You can't, you know, they deserve all the props they get, like rock stars and everything. But what they don't understand, and like what makes rap so unique, and I mean good rappers, you know, and there's shitty rap, like Lil Pump is not who I'm fucking talking about, right? but like, you know, but like Kendrick, for example.
Well,
probably somebody's calling or whatever.
Yeah, sorry, somebody called me.
You're good.
No worries.
So, what makes rap so crazy, man, is that like Kendrick had, like, this is a great example for Kendrick. Like it was in this song All Right, you know, we gonna be all right. There's a part where he kind of goes fast. He's like, I can take a lead, right, when he does that cadence. And what he does with his tongue is he uses his tongue and the enunciation in his voice, and he flows on the hi-hats, where it almost creates like a different rhythm that builds onto the beat. And it's amazing, you know what I mean? And it's I feel like it's so impressive when rappers like Eminem, Kendrick, J. Cole, and what that guy on that TikTok interview didn't understand is, like, your voice becomes the instrument, you know? And that's where flow comes into play, because you got people that just stick to the same fucking flow. Like, you know what I mean? But then you got people that can alter words, you know, shit that you and I use on a daily basis. They can alter it not only to create a message to get through to you that you're listening to, and you're like, okay, I understand what he's saying, but they also are saying it in a melodic phase that carries behind a beat, you know? And it just fascinates me, because they are taking things that you and I use every day, and they make it into basically an instrument. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's what flow is. And I think that's why rappers are so talented, because you don't see rock stars doing that. You know, I mean, yes, you do, but not in the same way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Same playground, but different thing to play on.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's what kills me, you know?
Yeah. Looks like Jukebox took a second too. There we go.
See,
there we
happens.
go.
I told you it
happens.
happens.
It happens. I'm gonna ask one more question, then I'll leave it to Jukebox. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm fascinated with music and everything, and just like you, I'm detail oriented. You know, when I listen to a song, if somebody shares a song with me, it's not just them sharing a song. I'm like, and I don't even ask. I'll go listen to the song the first time, and then I'll note how I feel. And then I'll pull up the lyrics if I can, and then I'll follow along and listen again. And then I'll try to, I ask myself, what's the message here in this song? And what's the message that the person that sent me this song is trying to relay, right? Most people don't think that. There's like, oh, hey, thanks for sharing a song with me. I'm like, no, there's so much more into it, but that's just who I am. But that's actually a trauma response to being around trauma growing up, whether it's whatever. And we create borderline personality disorder, just anybody that's been traumatized. And so that's why when anything happens, there's always a hidden meaning behind it. And so for me, I'm looking at this, okay, I'm listening to your music, the lyrics, and things like that. And it's, you want to rap because you have a message to tell, but also, you know, that's how you express your emotions, right? But the question here is, what message do you want to display? You are the message and you have your voice. What's the message that you are, not even that you want to, that you're going to display for your audience, right? It's not just a story about the song, but it's also, your story of how you got to where you're at and what you're doing with it, right? So the why. So what message do you want to be for people? People come just like, I love your music. Thank you for being you. Why do you do this? Why?
So I had a, I thought about it before I came on here actually, because I had a feeling somebody was gonna ask me that, And when I think about it, man, I honestly think why is I want everybody that hears it to be comfortable in their own skin, because I feel like everybody is sitting here and they're trying to wear something that isn't tailor-made for them, and that's where ego comes in, And that's what kills me, because it's like we literally have our vulnerability, we have all this shit that was already given to us, and we do everything to repress it in order to walk in somebody else's footsteps or a different light or whatever. And that's why, I don't rap about like parties or whatever. I mean, yes, I have a couple songs, but in general, right? Like my whole catalog is something that is meant to be self-reflective for me, because it benefits, me, it's my outlet, but also it's supposed to, show that, like, man, there's so much more to life than what we idolize. You know what I mean? And most people or things that we idolize are completely fraudulent. It's just it's an ideology that it's empty space in our brain. You know what I mean? That we just put on a pedestal. And so my message that I want to create, and hopefully I'm doing so, but what I always have in the back of my mind is, like, obviously it's my outlet, one, but two, I want the people that listen to me to leave, like, listening to Fake Smiles. When they turn it off, they're going to leave it, and they're going to be like, you know what? Like, I'm going to accept all the bullshit that I have on myself, man. Because, like, what else do we have? You get one body, you get one life. I mean, obviously there's, religions and shit that debunk that. But I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of things, of what we actually know, you know what I mean? We got one life, we got one body, you got one mind, and you got to be accepting of what you were giving. And I think that, especially with social media and everything, that is just completely derailed that,
Yeah. Now we do this thing towards the end of the show where we play a couple songs, just like a little snippets of it. Are you okay with me playing a little bit of Fake Smiles?
Oh, of course, you can play whatever. Yeah.
All right, let's do this. It should work. Last time I did this, and I was just not. I could hear the music, but they couldn't. So for like 30 seconds,
it's all good.
So for like 30 seconds, it's just me nodding my head and them just staring at me. So
you're breathing.
Used to drink memories of us with faith. How I thought the way things. I can move mountains, but you're standing in my way. Laughter's the best medicine, and smiles ease the pain. But the fake smiles got me lashing out and saying things I shouldn't say. Got me burning bridges down that were so hard to walk across. Got me in my feelings now. My peers used to manipulate me with hopes to watch me slip and watch me fall. But look at me now, look at the features and look at my nothing in mouth. Play because I'm off like a hangnail. Now it's ironic, they're pointing the finger at me. I'm the one that they talking about.
All right, okay. I don't want to, people gotta go watch the whole song on their own. But
I get to support Nevv. Go watch his stuff. Stream it.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yes, and I love, there's something about your beats on all of your songs where it's not over the top. It's enough to where it catches almost that emotional aspect with your lyrics, but it doesn't push boundaries to the point where it almost distracts from the message that you're trying to put out there. And I love that.
Nicole has a comment. Will you share that with Nevv?
Yeah.
This last one.
It says your music speaks volumes. What an incredible message. Thank you again for being authentically you, because you are so amazing and such a beautiful soul.
Well, thank you. Making me blush out here. Thank you.
That's why we do this.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah. So, with Fake Smiles being your most recent release, I mean, is that something that are you trying to push any other songs? Is there anything else that has like a message that's more dear than some of the other songs or close to you? You know,
I would say, man, I really put it out there with Fake Smiles. I definitely have to read. I think Patterns has a good one too.
yeah.
But definitely, I think Fake Smiles I think it just resonates with everyone. I think cross genre, it can be appreciated, you know, and I think that one's the one. Honestly, I think that's my best one yet. I'm excited that it's getting the response and the feedback that it's getting. You know,
where were you at when you wrote that? Like physically, do you remember? Like, were you like at a studio? Were you on a bus? Did you have a pen and paper? Was it a pencil when you started writing the lyrics?
And dude, I was in my room. I was all sad. I had the lights off like a psychopath. And I was just sitting in the dark, man. I had my Himalayan rock lamp, you know. And I was just sitting there and I was listening to this beat. And then I was like, oh shit, you know. Then I right when I heard the beat, I was like, all right, this is cool, you know. It's kind of, I don't want to say, I've done a lot of like the build up where it's like it's soft and there's just a couple of instruments, if not one, and then it builds up into the chorus. So I was like, all right, how am I gonna make this different? And then right when that fucking beat dropped and that's where the chorus is and that choir behind it, I was like, okay, this is gonna be something, you know, this is gonna be something meaningful and special. It gave me goosebumps, you know. So I was physically in my room right here, and I don't take just, I mean, sometimes I'll write in a day or just in a session, like I'll just sit down and write it. But it usually takes me like a couple of days to write something well thought out and like, okay, I like what, or this is the best I could do with this instrumental, I feel like, you know. But anyway, I was just sitting here, I was in the dark, I was all sad about like shit that's been going on, and I was like, I'm gonna put it into I'm gonna put it into this song. And what's funny is like I was getting clean when I wrote it. I know it just dropped, but it just dropped recently. But I was getting clean when I was writing it, and it was fun. That's why I was like, you know what, fuck it. Since I'm clean, this song's gonna be clean. So that's why that song is clean. It doesn't have any cuss words because I was like, you know what, since I'm clean, this song's gonna be clean. It's gonna hit, and then it did. And I was like, oh shit. Even though I'm cussing a bunch, but
no, it's all good.
That's completely fine. So how long ago was that? Because you released a song on November 4th.
Yeah.
According to Spotify.
Yeah. I dropped it November 4th, but man, I recorded it like a month and a half before that. And then I was in the studio, I was listening to it, and I said a line in there that was too far, man. It was too much, and I was like, I don't want to say attacking, but lack of a better word, I was kind of going at, you know, somebody's throat that I shouldn't have, and I was like, that's not what the song is about. This isn't meant to be a diss track. This is meant to be something that is going to be enlightening to other people, you know. And that part where it's like, please advise that I took a step back to redefine. You know, that was the part I had to rewrite because I was like, nah, I'm not going at this physical person's like ego. I'm going about I have to let go of my own ego and then somebody else's ego that's surrounding me in order to, you know, flourish and become a little better, you know. And so, because I was getting a little too personal and I was cutting deep, so I'm sitting in the studio. I'm like, I mean, it sounded fucking nice, but I was just like, nah, we can't be doing that, you know. Right. You know, I can't be going for heads like that, you know. It's just not right. So that's kind of where I was at when I wrote it.
All right. Yeah. No, dude, it's a fantastic song, and I'm pretty sure I listened to it probably a dozen times since we first synced up.
Well, thank you.
And I want to give you another shout out and definitely respect and appreciation for you coming on here and spending, you know, an hour with us tonight.
Oh, dude, thank you. Anytime, man. I appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah, of course. And I hope that, you know, you enjoy yourself and just being able to talk about who you are, because it's so nice to hear, especially to your fans, because some people I feel like don't realize that their fans want to know about them, you know. And that's why we do this. So
100%. Yeah, no, it's always great to talk about it and like hear the behind the scenes, if you will, of like, why was this song made? What's your whole message? What's your whole, you know, I feel like it just speaks volumes to what that person is doing, you know?
Yeah. So that's exactly
what happened to me. right? So you wrote this song and it moved me, right? And this is what we do. I was like, hey, that was the impact it had on me. That also, like, this is, you know, what I want to do, and take this is where, you know, we'll send you clips of this, and like whatever we can do to help you grow to, you know, be what it is that you are and what you want to become. Like, we want to help you because your music helped us literally directly. Yeah. Like when we both listened to the song, we're like, holy shit, this is powerful. And we're like, he's just really kind of getting going. I'd love to be on the forefront of this. You know, this is great. So
yeah. Well, I'm glad it impacted you in a positive way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Nicole also says thank you.
Thanks, Nicole.
Some good supporters in here, man. Awesome.
So you got your first headline show coming up. That's fantastic, man. That's awesome. And to everybody that tuned in tonight, I do appreciate all of you for being a part of this show. And you know, I want you to hopefully stay on after we end this broadcast for a couple minutes so we can chat.
Yeah, if you don't mind.
And then but yeah, again, appreciate all of you, and thanks again for tuning in to JG's Lounge. Another episode of In the Lounge with JG and Brofiki. And we're doing big things. And Nevv, thank you so much for being a part of this.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me, man.
All right, to everybody watching, we will see you next week.
Yep, and a huge shout out to our sponsor, Black Mirror Productions, for helping with this and all of that and everything that we're doing, and Jim Bob's Grizzly Beard Care for being with us too. Shout out to our sponsors.
All right, we'll see you all later.